Welcome back here on the Senior Network. We're now joined by Tatiana Zanzig with PruittHealth Home Health. Correct?
Yes, correct.
Good to see you, and we are in your world today. Thank you for allowing us in here.
Oh, absolutely. We're happy to have you.
Well, Tatiana, you've been on the show a lot. We've talked a lot about home health and so forth. I know with COVID, we're probably all tired of talking about that, but you brought up a good point in our conversation earlier about that we can't put our guard down with things like the flu.
That's right. Yep, flu season is in full swing, and I think a lot of people still need to get their vaccine. And, everybody, I think, is probably getting a little bit tired of, all the talk of COVID and social distancing, but now more than ever, it's so important to try to stick to a safe, safe precautions.
Exactly. And I think even with the flu, the death percentage of younger folks is even worse than COVID, right?
Well,
possibly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. In at-risk populations, it can be deadly, and I think that it's important that people remember that.
Yeah.
And there's really no way of telling if you are symptomatic. There's no way of telling if it's flu or if it's COVID. But either way, it is important to to see your provider, get tested, kind of find out what you're up against, and protect our, elderly population, our at-risk populations.
Right. Which is a lot of who you deal with and provide services to, correct?
Absolutely, mostly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So as far as the holidays, we talked about that. I know in the past we've talked about, with Right at Home, we get really busy through this season, and I'm sure you folks do too, correct?
We have been very busy.
Yeah.
We have.
And how does that look maybe compared to last year? You're providing the services basically the same way, right?
We are. I will say that we've been way more cautious, screening our patients and families before we even go into the home every single visit, all of our clinicians. And we're just that much more conscious of, any red flags or any, monitoring for symptoms. And
Well, for the viewers that may not know, let's kind of go back to the basics. Let's talk about home health and what all services are included in that.
Right. So with home health, we do provide nursing care.
Okay. And that would look like what?
That would look like, for example, if a patient had a wound and they required, a skilled nurse to come into the home and assist with wound care, maybe educate a caregiver to provide wound care on other days, and to really monitor it and make sure that the wound continues to shrink and improve and heal, and to make sure that it doesn't get any worse. Sure. That's just one thing. Nurses, they can come in and assist with maybe issues with medication management.
Great.
Checking your, INR level if you're taking Coumadin. Educating on medications. Different new diagnoses that a patient and family need to be educated on.
It's a clinical set of eyes.
Right, a clinical set of eyes. Yeah. They're the eyes and ears in the home for the doctor.
Yeah.
So.
What about any, as far as physical therapy?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. So physical therapy, occupational therapy. We have, social work that can come in the home, speech therapy. They can do, cognitive evaluations if you're worried about maybe a loved one's mentation. There's just so much that we can do.
And the great news at the end of the day, you're doing that in the home environment, so they don't have to leave.
They don't have to leave.
Especially in this day and time.
Right. A lot of times those at-risk populations, they're worried about leaving the home, potentially going into an office and being around other sick individuals. And I think staying in the home, from a, preventing contracting COVID or something like that.
Mitigate risk, yeah.
Right. But then also from a comfort standpoint as well, sometimes it's easier to learn in the home environment. You're a little more at ease, a little more comfortable.
So brings up a good question. As far as how are these services paid for?
So we bill insurance.
Okay.
And it's something that Medicare pays for 100%. And then it really just depends ultimately on patient's insurance, depending on which agencies are in network with that individual. Okay. We usually don't have any issues with insurance. Here and there we might get something a little different, but we always make sure that the patient is taken care of no matter what, even if we're not the ones providing the care.
Got it. Great information, Tatiana. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Stay with us here on the Senior Network. We will be right back.